MMC TV USA. Now on POTV, Channel 100.
Well, hello there once again and welcome to MMC World Roundup, where we connect you with the latest news from Sri Lanka and around the world. Before we dive into the details, take a quick look at what's making headlines today. The Election Commission has handed over the reserved packets containing the registered postal ballot papers to the Postal Department. Social media platform operators have assured the Election Commission that they would remove content that violates election regulations. Canada says it will impose a 100% tariff on imports of China-made electric vehicles after similar announcements were made by the US and European Union. Well, taking a look at your news in detail, the Election Commission has handed over the reserved packets containing the registered postal ballot papers to the Postal Department to be distributed to the postal voters of the 2024 presidential election. Accordingly, a total of 712,319 registered postal ballots have been handed over to the Postal Department by returning officers at 25 centres across the island. The postal voting is scheduled to take place on September 4th, 5th and 6th. Meanwhile, September 11th and 12th have been allocated as additional dates for postal voters who are unable to cast their vote on the initial dates. Meanwhile, the distribution of official polling cards for the 2024 presidential election is scheduled to commence on September 3rd. Additionally, September 8th has been designated as a special day for polling card distribution. Concurrently, the Postal Department has cancelled the leave of all of its employees until the conclusion of the presidential election. In the meantime, the returning officer in charge of Alpitiya Pradeshiya Sabha published the announcement regarding the acceptance of nominations for the local government body in the 2024 local government elections. The election regulatory body also announced that the handing over of nominations for the Alpitiya Pradeshiya Sabha for the 2024 local government elections will take place from September 9th to September 12th. The Election Commission of Sri Lanka has issued an announcement regarding the legal provisions for voters with disabilities to be accompanied by a person to assist in marking the ballot papers at the polling station. Accordingly, the election regulatory body stated that the provisions in Section 38(2) of the Presidential Elections Act No. 15 of 1981, as amended by Elections Special Provisions Act No. 28 of 2011, for a person who is totally or partially visually handicapped or physically disabled, can be accompanied by another person to assist in marking the ballot paper at the upcoming elections. The person who accompanies the disabled person should be more than 18 years of age and not a candidate contesting for that election. Similarly, he should not be as an authorized agent, divisional agent, or an election agent of a candidate, the Election Commission said in a statement. In addition, the person who accompanies the disabled person should not be a person subject to any disability. In order to be accompanied by a person to assist as stated above, a certificate of eligibility prescribed in the 5th schedule to the Presidential Election Act should be handed over to the officers at the polling station. The form to be used to obtain the certificate of eligibility can be collected from District Election Office, Divisional Secretariat, Grama-Niladhari Office, or the Election Commission's website www.elections.gov.lk. Social media platform operators have assured the Election Commission that they would remove content that violates election regulations, Commission Chairman R.M.A.L. Ratnayaka said. Ratnayake said that they have held talks with the officials of social media platforms including YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram and WhatsApp on the posting of material against election laws. Mr. Ratnayake said the EC was given the assurance that any offensive material would be removed within an hour after being officially notified by the Commission. He noted they have obtained the services of institutions that have the capability to monitor social media. In another development, local television channels have been cautioned by the Election Commission about the unequal time allocation for coverage of presidential candidates' campaigns. A 5-member committee headed by Media Ministry Secretary Anusha Palpita has been appointed to monitor news bulletins of state and private television channels on the allocation of time for the candidates.
The Chief Medical Officer of Kandy, Dr. Pasan Jaisinghe, revealed that around 50 tuberculosis patients have been diagnosed within the Kandy city limits during the period which has elapsed so far this year.
Dr. Jaisinghe also highlighted that the most pressing infectious disease threat in Kandy is not dengue but tuberculosis. While dengue cases are typically identified within 6 days and the treatment can be commenced, tuberculosis presents a much greater challenge as diagnosis of the disease can take up to 6 months, according to Dr. Jaisinghe. Meanwhile, he highlighted that symptoms such as persistent coughing, weakness in body and the loss of appetite is significant in TB patients, but they often go untreated as many individuals seek short-term remedies for these symptoms instead of undergoing proper screening for TB. With tuberculosis cases on the rise in Kandy, Dr. Jaisinghe urged the public to be vigilant and prioritize their health.
The Inland Revenue Department has cautioned the people that a suspected organized group is collecting the outstanding tax arrears, targeting business people in the guise of Inland Revenue officers in Colombo and the suburbs, a senior official from the department said.
Inland Revenue Commissioner General W.A.S. Chandrasekhara said that soon after she was alerted about such incidents, the department complained to the Criminal Investigation Department to probe the scam. The Commissioner General said that in terms of the IRD regulations, a taxpayer could pay the tax and arrears to the department's bank account by using their taxpayer identification number.
The High Commission of Sri Lanka in Kuala Lumpur hosted a fruitful engagement with the Malaysian Indian Tour and Travel Association in order to explore avenues for promoting the Ramayana Trail tourism in Malaysia.
MITTA, which encompasses over 200 Indian Malaysian travel and tour agencies, plays a pivotal role in advancing outbound and inbound tourism, with a particular focus on Tamil-speaking travellers, the Sri Lankan High Commission in Kuala Lumpur said in a statement. Accordingly, the High Commissioner of Sri Lanka, Air Chief Marshal Sumangala Dias, met with MITTA representatives and built upon discussions previously initiated with the Kuala Lumpur Selangor Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry in July 2024. High Commissioner Dias highlighted the growing potential for tourism between Sri Lanka and Malaysia, noting that approximately 10,000 Malaysians visited Sri Lanka last year, while around 60,000 Sri Lankans travelled to Malaysia. This provides a unique opportunity to project Sri Lanka as an appealing tourist destination, especially for Malaysian travellers of Indian origin who have historical connections through the Ramayana epic. During the meeting, a video documentary on the Ramayana Trail was screened, showcasing Sri Lanka's historical monuments and Hindu deities linked to the Ramayana. High Commissioner Dias requested MITTA's support in promoting these tourism opportunities among Malaysian agencies and outbound travellers, it added.
3 Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy warships Hefei, Wuzishan and Kilinshan have arrived at the Colombo port on a formal visit.
The visiting ships were welcomed by the Sri Lanka Navy in compliance with naval traditions, Sri Lanka Navy said. The Hefei is a 144.50 meter long destroyer crewed by 267 personnel under the command of Captain Chen Junfeng. The Wuzishan is a 210 meter long landing platform dock manned by 872 crew members and commanded by Captain Fei Zhang. Similarly, the Qinshan is a 210 meter long landing platform dock with 334 crew members under the command of Captain Ziong Binong, according to Sri Lanka Navy. The commanding officers of the trio of Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy warships are scheduled to call on the Commander Western Naval Area, Rear Admiral Chintakakumara Singha, and the Western Naval Command Headquarters. To strengthen the camaraderie between the two navies, crew members of these ships are set to participate in a series of programs organized by the Sri Lanka Navy as well. In addition, crew members of the ships will explore some of the tourist attractions of the country during their stay in Colombo. Additionally, Sri Lanka Navy personnel will have the opportunity to participate in briefings on the operational functions of the ships as well.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Plantation Industries has re-implemented the fertilizer subsidy program aimed at reducing costs for tea cultivators in Sri Lanka.
As part of this initiative, the Ministry of Agriculture and Plantation Industries has taken steps to reduce the prices of 5 key fertilizer types produced by the State Fertilizer Company. Under this program, the cost of a 50 kilogram bag of tea fertilizer has been reduced by 4,000 rupees, offering substantial relief to tea planters across the country. The fertilizer types subjected to this price reduction include T200, T750, U709, U834 and T65. With a total investment of 2,400 million rupees, this subsidy program is fully funded by the Sri Lanka Tea Board, ensuring that no government funds are utilized.
The Ministry of Transport has introduced a digital ticketing system for train commuters through the Pravesha website. Train commuters can now purchase digital train tickets online via the website pravesha.lk.
Tickets for second and third class travel between any two train stations can be bought using a debit or credit card. Once the ticket is purchased, a QR code for the ticket will be sent to the mobile phone via SMS or email. Commuters can use this QR code to travel only on the specified date. Although seat reservations are not yet available through the system, digital tickets can be bought up to 7 days in advance for the desired travel date via the website.
Former Malaysian Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin was charged with sedition over a speech he made that allegedly questioned the integrity of the country's previous king.
Muhyiddin, who led Malaysia from March 2020 until August 2021, pleaded not guilty in a court in northeast Kelantan state. According to the charge sheet, Muhyiddin made the seditious remarks last month during a by-election campaign in Kelantan. 9 ethnic Malay state rulers take turns as Malaysia's king for 5-year terms under the country's rotating monarchy, which began when Malaysia gained independence from Britain in 1957. The monarchy plays a largely ceremonial role but are revered by the nation's majority Muslims. In his speech on August 14, Muhyiddin had questioned why then-King Sultan Abdullah Sultan Ahmad Shah didn't invite him to be Prime Minister following a hung parliament in November 2022. Muhyiddin had claimed he had the backing of majority lawmakers. Muhyiddin's Islamic nationalistic bloc received stronger than expected support from Malays, who accounted for 2/3 of Malaysia's 34 million people. Sultan Abdullah appointed then-opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim as Prime Minister after Anwar cobbled up support from rival parties to form a unity government.
Canada says it will impose a 100% tariff on imports of China-made electric vehicles after similar announcements by the US and European Union.
The country also plans to impose a 25% duty on Chinese steel and aluminium. Canada and its Western allies accuse China of subsidizing its EV industry, giving its car makers an unfair advantage. China has called the move trade protectionism, which violates World Trade Organization rules. Canada's duties on Chinese EVs are due to come into effect on 1st October, while those on steel and aluminium will be implemented from 15th October. A Chinese Commerce Ministry spokesman said Canada's actions seriously undermine the global economic system and economic and trade rules. China is Canada's second largest trading partner behind the US. In May, the US said it would quadruple its tariffs on imports of Chinese EVs to 100%. That was followed by the EU, which announced plans to impose duties on China-made EVs of up to 36.3%.
Australia will introduce a cap on the number of new international students it accepts as it tries to reduce overall migration to pre-pandemic levels.
The nation has one of the biggest international student markets in the world, but the number of new enrollments will be limited to 270,000 for 2025. Each higher education institution will be given an individual restriction, the government announced recently, with the biggest cuts to be borne by vocational education and training providers. The change has angered the tertiary education industry, with some universities calling it economic vandalism. But Canberra says it will improve the quality and longevity of the sector.
Well, that wraps up our news coverage for today. You can reach us on Pio TV, Samsung TV, LG TV, Apple TV, YouTube and Facebook Live, reaching the entire United States and across the globe. Thank you so much for joining in with us today, and until we meet again next week, have a fantastic week ahead.
To catch the full program and more, subscribe to MMC TV USA on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok